Right. So so we're getting ready to, to start this to start this master class. For those of you guys who are just coming in to the to the master class, thank you guys for showing up on time. We're going to be starting in the next 3 minutes. So let me go ahead and get the just the class material that I'm going to be going over. Let me go ahead and get that up and make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Okay, there we go. We can get that up and we'll share our screen, and we can get started in the next couple of minutes, just to make sure that that we're completely on time, and that we're starting on time. I had a business coach one time who told me that there is a power that comes from like showing up on time. Like when you show up on time, you kind of like meet the people that you're supposed to meet, and you get what you're supposed to get out of this. So I really appreciate you guys who are here on time. So as advertised, it's the time is now 2 o'clock, and we're going to get started. First of all, I want to say hello and welcome to all of you guys who've logged into the class already. In this webinar, in this masterclass, I'm going to be talking. I'm going to be speaking to give you a sense of how telecommunications and energy professionals, how they can use on-demand trained virtual assistants to automate their social selling and marketing and crush their numbers. That's what we're going to be talking about in this masterclass. Later on, there will be an opportunity for you guys to get your questions answered, and an opportunity for you guys to take advantage of a special offer that we're going to have at the very end of the webinar. I know you guys, I know that your time is really, really valuable and important. And I thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules to join me on this masterclass. And I promise you that I'm not going to waste it, but I'm also going to incentivize you guys to kind of like stay on for the duration of the masterclass. And for those of you who do stay on for the duration of the masterclass, this offer that I'm going to be extending to you guys is valued at $1,000. So we're going to give away about $1,000 worth of services, to you guys for taking your time and joining us and being on the masterclass, right? So a few more, a couple of home housekeeping things that I just want to, touch on. So if you guys, in order for this masterclass to be useful and valuable to you guys, I'm going to ask that you guys kind of like, lock in a little bit, like, and shut out all the distractions. So if you have your cell phones on, if you have another screen up, you might be listening to something in the background, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and turn your cell phone off or put it on silence. Close out that screen. If you're still working from home, like so many of us are, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and close that door and put the kids and the wives to sleep, and kind of like lock in, so that we can like really get into the heart and the meat of this conversation. Because if you're in sales and marketing, and if you're a small business owner, and if you're a sales leader, you are looking for ways to increase your numbers. You're looking for ways to grow your business, and you're looking for ways to grow your money, and to earn more money. And so that's what we're going to be talking about, in this particular masterclass, right? So what is the lifeblood for every selling organization and sales professional, regardless of the products or services that they're selling? Right? What is that? And if you said to yourself marketing and innovation, you would be right. And the Peter Drucker, who was a American business leader, thought leader, late 90s, 80s. And I'm not dating myself. I just found this quote to be really interesting. But Peter Drucker pointed out that because the purpose of business is to create a customer, that the business enterprise has two and only two basic functions: marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation produce results. All the rest are cost, right? So if you don't have an effective way to get your message out, if you don't have an effective way to get in front of your clients and to really, get their attention, you can't really sell to them, and you can't get an appointment, and you can't pitch your product, and you can't close business, and you know you're not going to make any money. And then the other aspect of that is, like, if you're not innovating your products or your service, if it's not something that's in demand, if it's not something that's solving a problem in the marketplace, it's not going to fly. So marketing and innovation is really the lifeblood for any of these businesses. So over the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be, really speaking to give you a sense of how you can create an automated sales and marketing infrastructure powered by our secret social selling virtual assistants trained to do the work for you so that you don't have to. I'm going to be talking about how you can stop wasting your time and your money hiring, training, and managing virtual assistants who are not producing the results that you're looking for anyway. And many of them, the vast majority of them, are going to be quitting in 2.5 months. At least this is what the research tells us, right? Now, I'm also going to be sharing with you guys my perfect system, my perfect on-demand social selling and marketing system that is designed to generate more leads, help you guys generate more leads, schedule more appointments, and follow up more efficiently, and close more deals faster with social selling virtual assistants, right? And I'm going to talk to you guys about the smartest way to use cost-effective trained social selling and marketing virtual assistants to remove yourself completely from the lead generation, the appointment scheduling, and the following up process. So if you guys are, writing a lot of emails, sending a lot of texts, making a lot of calls, trying to get in front of your clients, and at the same time close deals, you literally have to split yourself into two components, right? You're on one hand, you're a marketer, on the other hand, you're selling, and on the other hand, you're doing admin work in terms of like the paperwork in and of itself, right? And this is one of the major impediments to any sales professional really hitting their goals, because a lot of times, and I know that this was true for me when I was in the field selling. You're spending over 50%, sometimes 70% of your time doing all of this other activity that has nothing to do with you actually talking to the decision maker and closing the deal. Like sitting in front of the decision maker and closing the deal. I said has nothing to do with it. Well, it has something to do with it, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't necessitate your direct handling, you should probably get rid of it, right? And focused on just being in front of the decision makers, right? The other thing that I'm going to be talking to you guys about is like the fact that the marketplace has changed, and and how you must change. How are you transforming and shifting? We can't really have this conversation without mentioning the pink elephant in the room. In the last couple of years, we were all sent home, and folks are back in the market. Things are coming back. A lot of things are moving. Folks are back working. A lot of positive things that we've all wanted for some time to happen, those things are happening, right? But there's still an impact, there's still a lag. So we're going to talk about, that lag and how that's impacting our ability to do the work that we need to do and to earn the money that we need to earn as selling organization and as sales and marketing professionals, right? So just to make sure that you guys are in the right place, because obviously I don't want to waste your time. And if this doesn't make any sense for you, then you shouldn't be here, right? And I absolutely don't want you to waste my time. So if there isn't anything that you're going to get out of this from a place of value, then there's no sense in us, really in us really talking. So just to make sure that you're in the right place, this is for you if you are a small business owner, right? Like if you're a small business owner and you're looking to grow your business, and that means you gotta generate more business. This is absolutely for you. If you're a solopreneur, right? So let's say you are a real estate investor, or you are an IT broker, or you could be a channel partner, an independent consultant, a sales manager, a marketing manager, a broker, an agent, or an investor. This is for you, right? If you're in anywhere in business and you have to make a decision, and that decision somehow impact the bottom line, right? You should probably spend some time and tune in, right? This is also for you if you are seriously committed to growing your business and crushing your sales and your marketing goals, right? That's a commitment. That's not something that you can kind of like wing. You got to be committed to that. If you need a clear and a direct strategy to achieve those goals, this is for you. If you want to grow your business in the post-pandemic economy in an aggressive manner, this is for you. If you don't want to be a glorified cold caller, a second-rate marketer, or an email marketer, or a digital marketer, this is for you. And the reason why I say that is because I had a client, and I'm gonna talk to you about this client a little bit later, because he was in the real estate space, right? And literally he was not building his business, right? He wasn't really selling to anybody. He was literally developing himself into a second-rate marketer and a cold caller. And if you don't want to do that, this is for you. If you're tired of micromanaging salespeople, right, or virtual assistants, and you feel stuck and lonely in your business, and you're just not getting the results that you want, this is for you. And if you need to generate more leads, if you need to schedule more appointments, if you need to follow up more effectively, if you need to close more deals faster, and you want results like right now, like today, right? This is for you. You guys want to pay attention to what I'm going to share with you guys, because what I'm going to share with you guys is gonna, has the potential of really transforming everything, about your business and how you're doing your business, right? So I talked about who this is for. Let me tell you who this is not for, because I don't want there to be any confusion as to who this is not for, who this is for, right? This is not for you if you're someone, if you want to hire a virtual assistant to do admin work, paper, data cleanup, data management, research, push papers, filing. If that's what you want a virtual assistant for, this is not for you. Later on, I'm gonna share some resources with you guys that could point you in the direction of getting some of that stuff if that's what you want. This is not for you if you're someone who, if you don't want if you don't have a solid foundation and a blueprint, for crushing your goals. If you don't want that, then this is not for you. This is not for you if you're someone who is a control freak and you want to micromanage everyone and everything. It's just not for you, because how we're structured is completely different. We focus on the results. We don't focus on the personality. We focus on the results. We focus on the KPIs. We focus on the number of calls, the number of emails, the number of texts, the number of appointments, and the number of sales that you're targeting at the end of the month. That's what we focus on. We don't focus on anything else. This is not for you if you're someone who doesn't understand the importance of automation, in this environment, at least, really having a powerful automation structure and a strategy, a virtual infrastructure in place, to succeed in the new norm, because the marketplace has changed. We're going to talk about some of that a little bit later. And this is not for you if you are someone who kind of like, if you don't like trying new things, right? So so this is me here. So first of all, I didn't introduce myself before, so let me take a minute before we go any further and let me introduce myself. I am Osiris James, and it's a pleasure and a real privilege to have you guys check out this masterclass. The image in the upper right, that's an image of me and what I call the good old days, running around New York City, hustling from anywhere, right? All I needed was my cell phone and my laptop. In this picture, I don't even have my laptop, right? I just have my smartphone. And the statue, the structure to my left there is the famed Wall Street bulls. It's a bronze or gold bull that's at the mouth of Wall Street, where kind of like Wall and Broad is intersecting. I don't know if you guys have ever been to New York or been down to into the Wall Street area, but that bull is there. And I love that bull because of what it symbolized. It symbolized the virility and the strength, the power of the U.S. Financial infrastructure and reality, so to speak, right? And so I kind of like long for those days, though. Like I haven't had one of those days in a long, long time, right? So look, I believe that now is the time for us to reinvent ourselves, to learn new skills, to create new habits, and to become the best version of ourselves, because our freedom and our futures are all depending on it. Our success is depending on our ability in this moment to kind of like seize the moment for what it is. I believe that we're living in the greatest period of change and prosperity that the world has ever seen. More million years and billion years will be created in this moment than at any other point in the history of man, right? Because I firmly believe this. And this is not necessarily what we hear on the news, and all we're hearing is how bad things are, how things aren't working. And what we're not hearing is just how transformative this period is. For those of us who can actually adapt, right, and innovate and kind of like add value to folks in the marketplace. And I'll be honest with you guys, like that's where I've been in the last couple of years, right? This is also me. That was me running around New York City, and nowadays this is me. Like I'm sitting behind my computer, and I am I'm hosting these master classes. I have 3 brands that I'm pushing out. They're all kind of like intersect into one. I have the education arm of what it is that we do, where we recruit and we train sales and marketing representatives to sell and market products and services from a variety of different disciplines. But we're focused on training folks to be social selling and marketing professionals, in the cloud, so to speak, right? And then there's my consulting arm of the Osiris James Group, where I consult with clients and really help them, grow their business, create virtual sales and marketing infrastructures, and really revamp their game, so to speak, so that they're really positioned, for the new normal that we find ourselves in, right? And then there's the application that that we've been working on for some time now. We're very close. We will be we'll be coming out of beta in the fall. Right now, we're still in beta, and the application works. We're offering it to our one-to-one clients, on a limited basis. And I'm going to be talking to you about the app a little bit later, because it's a really good time. We've put a lot of work in, and I'm really proud of the work that my team and I have done around it, and I'm really excited about where we are right now, and the fact that the last couple of years didn't destroy us; it just made us stronger, right? So I've tried and I failed so many times, and this is the most important thing that I want you guys to know about me. I've tried and I failed so many times in both my professional and my personal life that I used to be embarrassed to even think about it, but I get it now. We must all find and learn and find ways to kind of like profit from failure, to overcome setbacks and defeat, because it's not about the setback, it's always about the comeback, right? And so I'm just like all of you guys who are checking this out right now. I'm profiting from failure. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm building my brands and really committed to doing that, learning new skills. Like, for example, like I just recently launched a new podcast that could go from someone who was running around in people's face all the time to now someone who is on camera, learning to produce content, learning to market that content effectively, and learning to add value in the cloud. I'm a consultant for startups and small businesses, and I am also a coach and a mentor to some. So those are some, that's who I am. That's what I do, and that's the value that I offer. I think these things are really valuable in the moment that we're in, because everybody's everybody's looking to start a business or looking to grow a business, right? And my background is in the field of sales and marketing. I grew up in the channel partners program in the IT space, selling the services of Fortune 10 companies like Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, Sprint, Ring Central, just to name a few. I got into at one point, we were marketing a lot of solar and clean tech and green economy, products and services, right? And a few years ago, I just really thought about some of the challenges that I was having in terms of growing my business, and what I needed to do to actually expand that. And what I needed to do was to kind of like delegate more effectively, and to take and some of the activities that was like sucking my time and my energy, and really like put that into somebody else's hands so that they could really generate those things, and appointments and follow-ups, and so just so that I was freed up to spend more time in front of clients, right? Spend more time talking to clients, like Erica, and helping her grow her business by building a virtual infrastructure around her so she can grow her event marketing business, even at a time when nobody was going to events, right? She was building a process and putting things in place, to grow her business. And now that the market is opening back up, things are exploding for her. Or Neil here, who gave me this great recommendation. And Neil, obviously, when the pandemic hit, e-commerce became like the thing, and Neil has launched a new e-commerce startup, and we were able to help him, really structure that, put that together, and build a virtual infrastructure around him to grow his business overall, right? And look, thousands of people. It's not just folks like like Erica and Neil, or in the other picture there was one of my clients, Robert. But thousands of individuals and companies are using some of these exact strategies to grow their business. More than 80% of companies want to use use a more flexible workforce, right? And hiring virtual assistants through offshore agencies increased by 41% in 2020, right? So something is happening, and and what's pushing it forward is obviously the pandemic. It's shifted everything. So why should you stick around and listen to the remainder of this presentation? So you could find yourself behind on your sales and your marketing and your business. You might have just hired a new sales representative, or maybe you're a solopreneur and you have to do the selling and the marketing yourself, and you're just sick of it. You could have just have hired. You might already have a sales team in place, but you're looking for ways to generate more sales and to grow your business more effectively, right? And so if that's you, then you absolutely need to stick around, right? Because the marketplace has changed and the paradigm has shifted. Right, I love this issue, this image here. That actually the marketplace has changed was supposed to be over that, but it's not. So we're gonna roll with it, right? But and I think this is more powerful as a standalone. If you are a sales professional, right, you could feel like this right now. You could feel like you're standing on a hill that's being engulfed by a tsunami, right? Something is different, right? It's sales and marketing. The paradigm has shifted, and the marketplace has changed, and the principles, the strategies, the tactics, the way of doing business. A lot of those things have shifted, right? And we call this the strategic inflection point. And the strategic inflection point is really a point in the enterprise of a business, and we can apply to what we've experienced in the last couple of years, where the fundamentals in the business, the fundamentals in the marketplace, they've shifted, right? The fundamentals in the marketplace, in the environment, in society has changed, right? And that's a reality that everybody has to deal with. Now, the leaders in companies or anyone who consider themselves a leader making sound decisions about themselves and their future have to kind of like pay attention to that reality and that change and make some fundamental choices, make some strategic choices about how they're going to grow and how they're going to move forward in terms of their business, right? And those choices are going to determine everything, right? They're going to determine whether or not, you know, the strategic inflection point here is demonstrated by these three lines. You know, one is going up. So, you know, if I can just go back here and like, if you're a surfer, and instead of this briefcase in your hand, maybe you have a super smartphone, or you have a surfboard, and this could be the big kahuna. Surfs up, dude, right? I've never actually surfed before, but I always wanted to do that. Surfs up, right? You know, this could be the big kahuna. You could ride this wave into the future and really you know, build a sustainable momentum. But in order to do that, you have to adapt and you have to innovate, right? In order to grow, right? Or you could say, I'm going to wait here and I'm going to wait for things to go back to how they are. And if you wait, you know, chances are, you know, maybe it's possible that some of that will return, right? You know, some of those customers will, you have moved on, and, you know, they might find their way back into your business, right? You know, but you're definitely going to be stagnated, right? That's the best outcome, right? And the worst outcome is you know, is becoming, you know, a relic, right? Abstinence and really refusing to change and not growing and literally going into a period of decline. And a lot of us, a lot of businesses failed during the pandemic. A lot of folks are struggling as the market is coming back because the fundamentals in the marketplace has changed, right? And, you know, and I want to get into some of the numbers a little bit, and, you know, because that change means how we're selling and how we're marketing has changed. And this is taken from the McKinsey report, the 2021 Sales Enabling report, which points out that firms using AI reports a reduction in business costs in departments where AI is implemented. Right. So regardless of the industry that you're in or the department that you're in, right, being able to leverage technology, being able to understand that the fundamentals have shifted and you have to shift a little bit, right? Which is why I talked about how telecommunication and energy professionals are using trained virtual assistants, virtual social selling and marketing assistants to automate their sales and marketing. Right? Well, how are they doing it, and why are they doing it? And you know, so getting into the numbers, right? It tells us that, right, 77% of marketers report an increase in conversions due to automation. So when you automate, everything is better. 80% of marketing automation users saw an increase in the numbers of leads, and 77% of them had an increase in the number of conversions. Right. So when you apply a specific automation system to your product and service and your sales process, right? And you understand that sales and marketing now, I think that they've always kind of like worked hand in hand, but now more so than ever, they're inextricably linked. And the strategic decisions that you're making around where you're investing your operational dollars, you know, the type of folks that you're hiring, like, you know, the type of experience and knowledge pool and base that they need to have. All of these things are critical going forward if you're going to look to produce results in the new norm moving forward, right? And so just digging into the numbers. And guys, I apologize if this is a little bit blurry. You know, I'm a huge Gary Vee fan, and Gary Vee talks about like really, you know, choosing the content sometimes over the curation. And in this case, I made one of those decisions, right? And I came across a slide in the 11th hour, and I said I had to add it into the presentation. In your opinion, you know, and again, this is coming from the same source, right? And the question was asked, in your opinion, what are the main benefits of marketing automation? And let me see if I can increase this here a little bit. Maybe I can't. Let me get back here. And some of the main benefits of marketing automation, just so that you guys can see a little bit better, is, you know, it improve the target targeting of your message. It literally improve the customer experience, better quality leads, getting an improved efficiency and a better return on your investment, better ROIs, higher conversion rates. The customer, the cooperation between sales and marketing and the customer, all of those things are in sync and in alignment and on schedule. Customer efficiency, the ability to combine data, from different channel points, right? Increase web traffic, benefit better profits, and it shortens the sales cycle. And this is what happens when you automate, right? And what are the main reasons why you haven't yet started with marketing automation, right? And a lot of reasons why people aren't doing it is obviously, like, if you're a small business and you're running your business, man, and you're literally just struggling to to stay afloat, you lack of experience, the lack of know-how, combined with trying to run your business. You're not going to think about it. You're going to think about, because in your head immediately, what do you have to do, right? Or if you're a sales rep, you're chasing a deal, and stopping to be on a webinar, or in a master class at 2 p.m. might not be the thing that you want to do. And that's one of the reasons why, for those of the folks who weren't able to to make it, we're going to come up with a way for them to still experience this, because the time probably didn't work out for them. So we'll get to that a little bit later, right? So lack of human resources, lack of marketing automation strategy, so they don't have a strategy, lack of the resources, the finances, right? Insufficient customer data, lack of appropriate content, there's no commitment within the organization, right? The person who's at the helm, the director of sales, the VP of sales, the sales manager, they just don't know this. This is one of the reasons why I'm saying, where you're investing your operational dollars and the people that you're hiring and the education that they have. And it doesn't mean that they need to come out with a BA in marketing from a cutting edge university. What it means is they need to understand that we all have to learn new skills, and they got to go out there and they have to adapt too, right? Just really, folks, just not having the time to fall behind schedule. But the two or the three biggies, or the four biggies, right, is the experience and the money and the strategies. They don't have that, and here's the reality of that. The reality of that is sales and marketing has become a lot harder. Right? Sales professionals are reporting 61% of them are saying of people consider selling harder or much harder than 5 years ago. Right? Virtual business, 66% of salespeople reached out to over 250 prospects, only 66% of them, right? And only 15% are reaching out to over 1,000. So the thing here, a lot of salespeople are not seeing enough prospects, and companies are not providing enough leads for them, right? They're just not providing enough leads. They're not seeing enough prospects. And, a lot of folks aren't necessarily on, using the phones the way that they should. Some people are like, well, the phones don't work anymore, but it's still extremely effective, right? The phone is still an important part of the deal and still powerful. And here's an important fact: 30% of sales leads are never called on. That's like 30% of sales leads are never called on. So you know, when you're investing in data, you know, 30% of that is just going to be flushed down the drain because the sales rep is going to complain about it. They're going to tell you that the leads aren't working, right? And you know that they're not good. You're gonna hear it all, and you probably have already heard it all, right? The other interesting fact is that, you know, your chances of closing one qualified lead increase up to 90% on your sixth contact, right? So, and a lot of salespeople are not following up, right? And part of the challenge in selling today is a lot of folks don't really understand the, you know, the fact that the fundamentals in the marketplace has changed, and these devices and how we're using them, and you know, how, where the customer is listing from, how to engage the customer. All of those things are shifting, and we have to get that under control and under our understanding if we're going to be able to have the impact that we want, right? Also, the very last stat there, it's not a stat, it's a point, but email marketing is the #1 form of engagement and conversion. And most people don't know that, right? Most folks aren't necessarily effectively email marketing. Like if I get an email from you telling me what you want, chances are I'm not going to open it, right? So there is a science to effectively sending an email, right? I just wanted to, you know, show you guys this this stat that 81%, 81% and 80% of respondents respectively said email marketing drives customer acquisition and retention, right? You know, so email marketing is a really, really powerful tool, and what we see is that the growth in the space since 2020, and in terms of the effectiveness, has been consistent, and it's growing. It's slowly growing, but it's moving, you know, up in the positive direction. And most sales representatives and virtual assistants, right? They are not asking for referrals. They are not following up. A lot of them aren't calling the data that you that on the data that they're being given, right? Those leads, they're just going to waste. They don't understand their numbers. They don't know their KPIs, right? They have zero clue, and they complain about their leads, right? Here's another, well, now this is from, you know, from the same report. Now, guys, I know I'm going over a lot of stats here, and, you know, you guys can go check these stats out yourself. It's the 2021 Sales Enablement Report that, but this points out that sales automation stats that 61% of businesses leveraging automation reported exceeding revenue targets in 2020. Right, this is from HubSpot, and 44% of sales leaders who will exceed revenues in 2021 use competitive intelligence and market data, or marketing data, right? You know, so the point here is, guys, whether you are a high growth firm or a no growth firm, right? No matter where you are, right? If you are looking for better results, you have to stop what it is that you're doing and take time to put a system in place. You have to make some of the necessary investments if you're really looking to build a sustainable business going forward, right? You know, there's a ton more stats here that I can get into. I'm going to skip through some of them just in the interest of time, and you know, I don't want to bore you guys with the stats, but I do want to point out like 1 or 2 more stats here. The top performers are spending more hours per day. They're spending more of their time talking to decision makers. Surprise, surprise, right? And they're spending a lot more time on the web, right? They're right. They're spending a lot more time in front of people as opposed to doing activities, you know, whether it's making a cold call, or you know, making 100 dials and getting 10 contacts, and out of the 10 contacts, you know, getting maybe 1 appointment, which is still, you know, in some industries great, right? If you're doing that, or sending 1,000 emails and getting no appointments, right? Or text, whatever it is that you're doing, right? The point is you got to be in front of clients. So we got to focus on the bigger pictures, right? And on the bigger picture. And the rule of thumb in delegation is anything that does not necessitate your direct handling, you should outsource it, get it off your plate, right? So cold calling is not something that you have to do. Sending an email, right? Following up with your contacts in LinkedIn, right? Those aren't necessarily things that you have to do. You have to have a strategy and a plan around them so that they're not randomly being done, and you have some command and control over the quality and what's happening, so that you don't have a random rep in there just doing what they wanted to, right? But you have to focus on selling, you have to focus on marketing and closing deals, right? This is what's going to make a difference in your bottom line. This is what's going to grow your business. This is what's going to attract more investors. No matter which level you're playing at, that's the bigger picture, and that's what we have to focus on, right? So again, that delegation rule, right? You don't need to spend time kicking tires, right? Let somebody else kick the tire for you, right? Put a strategy and a system in place where your time is going to be spent in front of decision makers and in closing deals. And if you guys are on this in this masterclass right now, thank you guys again, because and it says. I just want to acknowledge you guys for understanding your role and understanding that the fact that, just like you have to be constantly closing, you also have to be constantly learning. This is how you are innovating yourself as a value-added consultant, salesman, or service provider. You always have to be learning new ideas, right? And the folks who are learning and applying what it is that they're learning, they're just always going to do better. That's just the bottom line. The folks who are were too lazy to change, right? Who are too lazy to understand that you got to build a better mousetrap, and that there's always a better way out there. You just have to take the time to figure that out, right? So so that's what has to happen, right? So strategic inflection point number 2, right? Because earlier we went over number 1, that you have to automate. The marketplace has changed. The pandemic has shifted the paradigm, and technology that was being used in some quarters by folks who were in the know, that now is been more commodified in a lot of different areas, and everybody, if you want better results, you have to apply some of those principles. So the strategic inflection point number 2 is the fact that you might already know this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this, that the global market for outsourced services, that sector is part of a larger sector, but the value in that sector since 2019 is was 92.5 billion, and that's grown by a 4.5% clip and from 2020, and it's projected to maintain that same trajectory upward up to 2025. Right, so something is happening, and this goes back to what I was saying before. Anything that does not necessitate your direct handling, you have to outsource it. This is part of you being able to build a sustainable business moving forward, and being part of that green light and green line, and avoiding the blue line, and avoiding becoming a relic in the marketplace, right? You have to figure out how to do more with less, and you have to figure out how to multiply and duplicate yourself. You can't compete with bots, right? So you got to figure out how to use bots, or if you can't use a bot, then you got to use the next best thing, a virtual assistant, and virtual assistants can reduce your operating costs by 78%, and you might already know all of this. You might already be using a virtual assistant. The numbers of freelancers is expected to hit 86 billion by 2027. Now that 86 billion, and it's not here, but I know it kind of cold, because it's one of the reasons why I started to move in the direction that I started moving in. And I came across a figure that said more than 50% of the US workforce by 2027 is going to be working as a freelancer, independent agent, or some kind of virtual assistant in some way, shape, or form, right? And that's half of the US population. And then this was before COVID, folks. Right. This was before the pandemic, right? And so the pandemic has happened now, and that is instead of 2027, we see this this flux and this this tsunami taking place like right now. More than 80% of the companies, they want to use a more flexible workforce, right? And cold calling, email marketing, and digital marketing are amongst some of the top in demand services, that's required. Now, I want to tell you guys about a client that I had that I worked with a lot during the pandemic, and a lot of stuff that I was doing in the IT space. We tabled some of that stuff because things was just stagnated there for a little bit, right? But I'll get to that in a second. Let me move on, right? So the virtual assistant business is growing, and it's always been growing. And Fortune 500 companies, they've been using it for years. That's how come they have hundreds of, some of them have thousands of employees around the globe. But that's what they're doing, right? That's how come they have all those employees all over the place, right? But here's the thing: if you're a small investor, if you are a consultant, if you're a solopreneur and you're trying to grow your business with a virtual assistant, one of the things that we saw and that we were seeing during the pandemic, we worked a lot with a lot of folks in the real estate space, right? Because the idea there was, who would be the only people, no matter what's happening on the planet, that's willing to go to hell to negotiate a deal with the devil? We're like real estate people, right? They'll do it for whatever, So my point is, the real estate space was moving and was booming, and it's still moving and booming, right? And but one of the things that we saw was that on average, when a lot of these investors and these firms are hiring these virtual assistants, that on average these virtual assistants are quitting within 2.5 months. Right. And we're going to talk about some of the reasons why that was happening a little bit later. And it wasn't all their fault. Right. Well, we'll talk about that. So virtual assistants, the space is booming. There are tons of platforms that are out there. I mentioned earlier that I was going to share some of those resources. So you have the Guru, you have Upwork, Total Outsource, People Hours, 99 Designs, Freelancer. They're there, and you can go hire Fiverr. You can't forget about Fiverr. You can go hire a resource, to do some of the work that you need for you, right? This is not who we are. That is not what it is that we do. What we do is very different and very focused on sales and marketing, and making sure that that the reps that we hire, that they're trained, they understand how to sell telecommunication services. They understand the difference between that and selling energy services. They understand the importance of really making a cold call. Like, the point of a cold call is to get an appointment. It's not to sell. You're going to come in and do the selling. The person you're booking for, that's their job to sell, right? So, so if you're tired of wasting time and money hiring and training, managing sales representatives and virtual assistants who are just going to quit in 2.5 months anyway, only to have you do it all over again, hire them again just for them to have to quit. If you're tired of that, and this sounds like you, then you're going to really love what we have to say next. If you're interested in, if you're generating your own leads and scheduling your own appointments, and you really want to, create an effective process going forward, then I want you guys to stick around and really like check out some of the things that we did to kind of like work that piece out, that we're going to be rolling out on a broad scale in the fall, right? So I kept the slide in there. This is from another masterclass that I did, but I think having an effective pipeline having an effective sales and marketing pipeline is critical. And if you're going to have an effective pipeline, then that pipeline, you know, you got to know who your target client is. You got to know who your customers are and why they are and where they are, right? You got to know how to qualify them. You got to, you got to be able to, to provide that data, right? If you are really serious about building a process, you have to be able to go about it like that. So you have to build a funnel, right? So I want to talk to you guys about, this is my client, one of my client, Raphael, and Raphael it was fired his boss at the beginning of the pandemic and jumped into real estate. He didn't have any experience in the real estate space. When I met Raphael, he was so typical of a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of folks who really don't understand that ultimately business is about selling and marketing, but they were spending a lot of money. He was spending a lot of money on different platforms and paying for a lot of different online services and actually paying a virtual assistant, but he just wasn't getting the results that he needed. When I took Raphael on as a client, he was willing to follow the instructions that I laid out for him. Right. And I really meant that. Right. Because I think a lot of times, you hire somebody and at the same time, you still want to do things your way. But the only reason why you would put yourself on the table for heart surgery is because you're not a surgeon. Right. You can't cut yourself open and really, operate on yourself, and you don't want to do that. But we were able to operate on Raphael, and we were able to help him, take his real estate business from 0 deals to 15 signed real estate deal in a very short period of time. And what we were able to do was we were able to get Raphael to focus and to master his KPIs. And this is why a lot of virtual assistants and a lot of salespeople are failing, because they simply don't understand and know their KPIs. They don't know how many calls they need to make to get to the one appointment. And if they do that, and if they get that one appointment, they don't know how many of those appointments they need to get to that one sale. And they don't have it down to a science. It's not predictable. And so they go from day to day trying to force an outcome. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of VAs only last 4.5 months, because yes, some of them just aren't good, right? Like that's just the reality of it, right? Some of them suck, right? Some of them don't know the first thing about selling or marketing. They just want a job and they're going to tell you anything, right? And then some of them can do the job, but the person on the other end, the company, right? The broker, the consultant who's hiring that person to do the work for them, they don't know their KPIs. They don't understand what their key performance indicators are. So because they don't know that, they're not setting the right context for this person that they are hiring and paying on a monthly basis to do work for them. That's not going to produce the results because they don't really understand what's necessary. So with Raphael, that's some of the things that we really focused on. We zeroed in on that with him. We made it clear that you needed 45 leads to get to 1 deals. And to get those 45 leads, you needed to make about 250 calls to get to the 45 leads, right? And the timeline, it takes 12 hours of phone time, sometimes, to make those calls, to get to the number of leads that you need. And over a 4-month period, right, you're only probably putting out a couple of offers, and in that time frame, you're probably only going to get 1 deal from that. Right. And he needed to understand that. So when he understood that, he realized that, it's either he was going to do that, and if he wasn't going to do it, he needed to build a system. And that's what we were able to do. We were able to help him build a better mousetrap. Right. So what if I told you guys that we've created the perfect system for recruiting, training, and deploying social selling and marketing virtual assistants to do the work for you so that you don't have to, right? What if I told you guys that? Will you guys believe me? Or maybe you think that it's too good to be true. Or you could be saying to yourself, well, I don't have to worry about that. I already have a sales team with a CRM. Or I'm already using a virtual assistant. And it's like kind of working out for me, or maybe not. Well, we'll see. However it works, or it could be working out just fine, right? You know, um, and this is kind of like the old way to go about it, right? You go to one of these platforms. In this case, this is Freelancer and Outsourcely, and you put in your requirements and you'll fill out the profile, you put in your request, and you'll get some profiles of VAs, and you'll kind of like go with the ones that you want. Like, that's the old way, right? And I don't believe for a lot of people they're getting the results, especially if you're selling and you're marketing. I don't believe a lot of folks are getting the results that they want, right? That way, right? And so, like I said, what would it look like if we created a perfect system to be able to hire, recruit, and train social selling and marketing virtual assistants to produce results for you, to do the work of sending emails, to do the work of texting and calling and following up, or even selling for you? What would that look like, right? Well, it would have to be on demand, right? Like you would use it when you want to use it, and you would have to be able to control it. You'd have be able to make sure you can access trained virtual assistants. They know what they're doing. They come knowing what they're doing. It's not something that you have to even think about or worry about. All you need to do is to provide the value proposition of your products and your service, provide the guidelines and the rules of the road, or the rules of engagement, so to speak, right? You'd only pay for the results that you're getting, right? So you wouldn't have to waste all of this money hiring a salesperson. And by the way, and I had some numbers on that. I took that out because I didn't want to offend the salespeople who might be watching this right now. That like on average, it's about $25,000 to hire a good salesperson, right? Just to hire them, to bring them in the door, right? Another 15,000 or so to train them, right? And on average, it's about 78,000 in salary, and then you want to incentivize that, and with maybe like a $2.5 million quota, right? Like, those are kind of like some of the numbers when it comes to hiring salespeople, right, to produce results for you, right? And so it would be on demand, and you want to make sure that they're trained. You wouldn't have no need to micromanage any of them, right? Because it's not about the individual. It's about you being freed up to be able to work from anywhere, and to be able to have a pool of clients who you are talking to that's ready to buy. They know about your products. They know about your service. They know what time you're coming to see them, or what time you're getting on that Zoom call for them. They already know this, right? You'd be able to sell and market effectively, right? You'd be able to send effective email, right? You'd be able to access a consistent pool of leads, right? You'd be able to access pre-scheduled appointments, right? Right? Real-time activity report. So you can actually see what's happening. You can know if the data is making sense, right? And it would have to be automated. Right? Because if it's not automated, then you're kind of like hustling backwards. You'd have to have the ability to order, command, and deploy your resources, or your battalions, your sales battalions, where you want them, right? You would have to have that. That would be like the perfect system to kind of liberate you as a sales and marketing professional, to really give your organization the flexibility that it needs to make sure that at the very least your data is being called on. At the very least, you're hitting your KPIs. At the very least, these things are being handled, and you can kind of like analyze that data to know if you're moving in the right direction. The perfect system, right? There would be so this perfect system would give you trained social selling virtual assistants to do the work for you, so that you don't have to. You'd be able to increase your brand visibility amongst your core target market. You'd be able to develop a robust sales and market automation system, build a deep and an active sales funnel. You'd be able to generate a consistent pool of leads. I probably said that already. You'd be able to increase your customer acquisition, right? And drive your market share, and increase your revenue, right? And you'd be able to increase the amount of motivated, pre-qualified, motivated clients that you're getting in front of, right? That's what the perfect system should give you, at the very least. I love this kid. He has such a great smile, so mischievous, right? Like, look at that smile. There's something behind that, right? So you might be thinking to yourself, what would my business look like? What would my business actually look like if I had something like that? Or, what would my quota, like, what would my sales goals be? Could I increase them? Would I reach them? Like, how would what would my check look like at the end of the month? Right? If I had such a system in place, right? And so the third strategic inflection point, right? And strategic imperative, right? It should be strategic imperative, but we're going to use the inflection point word. But the third one, to avoid being that red line and falling into obscurity, is you got to understand the art of social selling and marketing. You got to understand what that is. And let me just sum it up for you. It's time consuming. You have to learn new skills. You have to be able to understand how to really effectively, communicate on social media, right? You have to know how to send a great email, or how to automate a great email, and when to send it, right? What to say, how to say it, right? You have to understand how to talk to people on LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn is a great platform, right, to connect with people socially, right? All of those things. But here's the thing that you have to understand. It is extremely time consuming, and it does not necessitate your direct handling. So you have to find a way to get it off of your plate, right? And you have to find a way to put the customer at the center of your ecosystem, where you are talking to that decision maker. You're talking to that potential customer, and you're communicating with them seamlessly, effortlessly, in an automated way, where it seems like you're everywhere, but at the same time, you're just effectively using a system based on your instructions. That's generating your leads, that's scheduling your appointments, that's automating your process, that's sending your emails, sending your texts, following up, right? And it's qualifying your clients, and it's eliminating the tire kickers, who just want to get you to do some free work for them and to write a proposal. And this is the new way, right? You focus on being in front of your customers, right? So how does this perfect system work for me? You might be thinking that. Let's say this guy again, right? How's that going to work for me, right? So my secret virtual assistant selling and marketing automation system, this is what it is, right? This is one of the things that we were able, remember that client Raphael that I was talking to you about? This is what we were able to do for Raphael. Instead of Raphael hiring this virtual assistant, Raphael came to our platform, and he literally just ordered the results that he wanted. So I said, hey, Raphael, well, how many calls are you making? Right? And I said, well, Raphael, you're not making enough calls. Well, he says, well, this is all I have time for. I said, well, that's understandable, right? And and tell me if this is something that any of you guys are dealing with, right? You literally only have time. You literally only have 24 hours in a day, and you're at work for a certain amount of those hours. And are you taking the homework with you, the work home with you, or what are you doing, right? But sometimes, like, if you have to make 150 calls a day, or 100, that's a lot of time spent making those calls, right? And Raphael was already working a 9 to 5, right? So he didn't even have time to do it. And then when he quit his 9 to 5 and he was doing it full time, he got burnt out within 2.5 weeks. He didn't want to do it then. So it goes from not having time to not having the will to do it, right? And at the same time, he was starting up a real estate investment firm, and he needed to be building relationships with the right people. But here he was, being a second-rate marketer and a third-rate email cold caller. Right. And that's typically what a lot of folks are doing. And so we were able to have him sign up and really order the results. So just imagine the perfect system that you could start today. He would literally just gave us what he wanted, like the number of calls, the number of emails, right? How many leads did he want during the course of the month? How many deals was he looking to close over in each quarter, right? How many emails did we need to send? How many texts did we? So we built a process and a system around him that was based on his KPIs, right? And then we gave him the ability to launch different campaigns. Maybe he just wanted to set appointments. Maybe he just wanted to, to generate a qualified lead, or maybe, there's something that you want to sell, like you have this widget and you want people to call and sell it because you have a virtual process. Doesn't really matter. All you need to do is to just decide what it is that you want, right? You upload your data, you really just lay out the battle plan. You provide us with your value proposition. And if it sucks, we'll tell you this is probably why you're not selling, because, the way that you're talking about your service doesn't really, translate. And maybe we can help you improve that. But once we get that value proposition aligned, then we can really like create a campaign for you guys. And really now we activate our battalions to do the work for you guys. So what makes this different? Right? Why is this different than just getting a virtual assistant? It's because we're activating battalions, right? And we're able to crowdsource the results. We're able to crowdsource the results. Let me say that again. We're able to crowdsource the results. One of the reasons that we discovered was that when you hire one or two virtual assistant and you don't understand your numbers, your KPIs, they're not going to understand your numbers and your KPIs because you don't understand it. You didn't explain it to them, right? And so now, after they spend a couple of months chasing their tails and calling and not getting the results for you and for themselves, they're going to burn out and they're going to go away, right? And after, making 100 calls per day and sending thousands of emails per day and after a while, it can be kind of boring, right? So we've developed a system where, where it's a battalion that's really doing the work, and no one person is doing the work, right? Let me just share with you. This is part of our internal server here, where people can come on and they can pull up campaigns, right? And if they have permission to work on that campaign, right, the rep will be assigned, will be able to access the data of that campaign and all the related materials that they need to work that campaign and produce the results, right? And all that information is being tracked. That information is being captured, and it's all being laid out for you in a way where you can analyze that data and you can see and make sense of what's happening, to that data, right? And this is an element that we're really working on getting right. We've put thousands of dollars into this platform, and we have thousands more dollars that we need to invest in it, because this piece, I think, has a tremendous amount of potential to be able to say to someone, here is your sales and marketing data, right? And what it tells you is what's happening, and these are the decisions that you have to make. So that's where we're going with this from an AI perspective, right? So here's everything that we just covered, right? I don't want to bore you with a bunch of technical stuff, because one of the things that I understand is that folks aren't really looking. Nobody cares about software. People want results. People buy software because they believe the result that the software is going to get them. They need those results, right? So we covered how to use trained virtual assistants to autopilot your social selling and marketing, right? We talked about creating an automated sales and marketing virtual assistant infrastructure, and to remove yourself completely from the lead generation, the cold calling, and the follow-up process. We talked about the smartest way and the most cost-effective way, to really leverage these resources to get them to do the work for you. We talked about my perfect system, right? My absolute perfect system that enables you to stop wasting your time and your money hiring, training virtual assistants and sales representatives to do the work for you. And we talked about and we dived into the strategic inflection points and the imperatives. I said 2 here, but I actually gave you 3, right? So these are the things that we covered here, right? So I mentioned earlier that for those of you guys who stayed on the master class for the duration, that I had a super special offer for you guys, right? And I want to tell you guys about that offer in terms of, you know, what it is that you get today. With the offer, you gain access to our on-demand virtual assistant social selling and marketing system. It's really that's salespeople, social selling and marketing people combined with the CRM for them to do the work and for you to track everything. You get our virtual business 90-day startup operational game plan. You might not need 90 days, but any campaign, marketing campaign, sales campaign that you're embarking on, you really need 90 days to really vet it and to make sure that it's being done right. And that's why we say 90 days, right? You get access to our on-demand trained virtual assistant as a service with automation. And listen, the marketing automation piece, you know, when I talk about how the paradigm has shifted, right? That, you know, when you effectively automate, your numbers are going to go up at 9.3% higher in terms of the quotas and the amount of sales that you're generating. And that's on average. Right. And, you know, so just think about that. Like if you were making 9.3% more sales, what would that look like for your bottom line? Right. You're going to get our social selling and digital marketing automation, process. Right. We're going to include our virtual lead generation and appointment setting launch pad. You get that free for 90 days. Right. And you're going to get a step-by-step online business blueprint to really build an infrastructure and an online business, that really take into consideration the new norm, that we find ourselves operating in, right. So you could also be thinking that I'm just not sure about this, and you know what, and that's fine. Right. Like, you know, that's absolutely fine. I sent you guys a bunch of emails and, you know, and you guys were gracious enough to respond or maybe you clicked on a video on YouTube and you decided to join this masterclass in this webinar. Right. But you're just not sure about stuff. So if you're just not sure, you can also schedule a strategy call with me. If you just hit the link there, you should be able to click the link and really select a time in and of itself, you know, with the strategy call. Let me actually, I can't show you on this. I will show you guys a little bit later what you need to do. So go ahead and click the link and schedule a time for yourself if you're just not sure. But the real question is this: is it worth the investment? If it does only half of what I'm promising it will, promising that it's going to do, it's going to pay for itself, right? Like if it just gives you the ability to make sure all your data is called on, if you're able to automate an email marketing process, if you're able to schedule more appointments, and if you're able to, to really build a virtual infrastructure with social selling and marketing agents who are eagerly looking to help you do the work for you so that you don't have to, you know, how would that impact your business? I think that's what you have to ask yourself, right? Like, you know, how would that work? Or will it work for me, right? Because, you know, it's like, it's a legitimate question, right? But so because you guys are here today, I want to just continue to, you know, to point out that our offer is really about, you know, how do we help you work smarter and not harder, right? How do we, how do we help you do a lot more with a lot less, right? And that's really what you should, be thinking, right? How do we get these trained virtual assistants to do the work for you so that you don't have to, right? And how do you build an infrastructure for the post-pandemic economy that allows you to continue to generate your leads, schedule your appointments, and close more deals for your business, right? So, you know, these are all questions that I'm sure you guys are asking yourself. And as I said, for being on the call, I'm offering this fast action bonus offer for you guys, and for the first 30 people who take me up on it, who actually schedule an appointment with us and decide to take us up on it, we're going to give you a 60% discount off of anything, any type of campaign that you're looking to launch. On an average, that's going to be able to give you all of what I just mentioned here, all of this, you get all of this, right? And you're only paying $396 a week for that, right? So you're getting the salesperson, you're getting the know-how, you're getting the platform, you're getting the results, right? And you're only paying $396 for that. For any of you guys who decided to stay till the very end, right? Now, I'm going to skip through. So the dedicated. So what comes with that is the dedicated campaign manager, an onboarding, with onboarding support, weekly campaign conference calls. You get contact management support, right? You get basic reporting. You get your own personalized dashboard for your report. You get the data management, the click to call that's built in, and these are some of the features of the platform itself, where, they can, track all the callings that's taking place, track all the SMS, the email marketing, any digital engagement, like if you're on LinkedIn and the contacts that's being made on LinkedIn, and really updating and reporting on what's happening there. So those are some of the features, right? And so you just really get access to our automated sales growth strategy that can help you really grow and maximize the opportunity in the marketplace for your business, right? And we believe in our system so much that we guarantee that our on-demand social selling and marketing team will do the work for you so that you don't have to, and they'll do a great job of getting you to focus on your KPIs and hitting your target, right? Now, this is like, our entire platform will be going completely live in the fall. Anyone who comes on board with us between now and October, right? We are offering you guys a discount, and these are some of the rates. These are some of the discounted rates that we are offering. You can start a campaign as low as $99 per week, right? Or as high as $1,299, depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and depending on the size of your organization. And you guys can book a strategy call with me, and we can talk about any of those things, right? So you might have a bunch of questions, right? And I love this. This kid is even funnier than the other kid, right? So you have to sign a long-term contract. No, you don't. You pay as you go, and you pay for the results. It's completely month to month. You can cancel anytime, right? And we bill you for the current month, but you won't be billed again. And you can customize your plan, and we can negotiate how you want to set your plan up so that it really serves your need. Because if you're not serving your need, you're not gonna continue to to work with us. Can I change my plan? Of course you can. Right? Like, why wouldn't you be able to change your plan? You can change your plan anytime, right? And you can do that in your control panel. Am I locked into my contract? There are no long-term contracts with any of this, right? We believe in choice, and we believe that if we're not helping you, we don't want to take your money, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't create good energy, and so if we're not helping you, we don't want to take your money. Are there any support fees? There are no setup fees or no hidden charges. Anything in terms of like something that you would need on your end, we would charge, we would charge for that. But for right now, we've waived the onboarding fee for anyone who's coming on in this stage, right? Is there a payment plan? Schedule a discovery call, and we can discuss different ways that we're working with different clients. So we're very flexible in terms of how we are going about all of this, right? So again, these are some of the things that we covered. How to really use those virtual social selling and marketing systems, how to automate them. We covered the process, we covered my perfect system, the smartest way to go about it, and we talked about the strategies that you should employ. If all this did for you was to help you call through your data, would it be worth it? right? Like if you knew that your calls was being made, would it be worth it? If you were able to save 6 to 12 months of wasted time, energy, and money, like prospecting in the wrong place, not getting the results that you want, would it be worth it for you? And if this gave you a massive shortcut or a cheat sheet, if you will, to automate and grow your sales, would it be worth it, right? So I had two choices. Those are my choices. Like, these are my choices. Choice number one was I could sell this as cheap as possible, or give it away for free and help as many people as possible automate and grow their sales without going bankrupt. Right. And that was just wasn't a good choice for me. Right. Or I could require you guys to make a personal commitment and an investment in, that green arrow going up. I could encourage you guys to kind of like not be stagnated and not fall into into becoming a relic in your industry and in the marketplace, right? But that would mean if I required you guys to make that investment in yourself, that would mean that I'd be able to guarantee you even more success, around your selling and your marketing, right? So the true cost of salespeople, I mentioned this before, it's 15,000 to just hire them, right? Another 20,000 on the training, right? And then another 75,000. I think I said 78,000 before. I might have turned these numbers around, but if I did, these are the actual numbers, and please forgive me for that, right? And an average full-time virtual assistant salary is about 30,000 annually, right? So again, these are all the things that you get, and you can do the math. And what we're saying that we're willing to do this, and we're willing to offer you guys a massive discount that enables you to do it for $396 per week. You gain access to all of this, right? Now, you might find yourself in one of three places. After I've gone through all of that, you could be saying to yourself, "Well, Osiris, thanks for taking the time to do this presentation. I learned one a few things about automation, and I know I can go to Upwork or Fiverr or Outsourcely to get a virtual assistant." And you don't really need to do any of what I'm suggesting in terms of like try our secret system here, right? You don't need to do that. So so for those of you, if you find yourself there and you know that just this isn't for you, and it's not going to be for you, thank you guys so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to kind of like thank you for taking time out of your schedules to to join me on this in this masterclass, right? And so if you know that that's not for you, then you can go ahead and hit the stop button and go ahead and remove yourself from the masterclass. And thank you guys for your time. I will keep you guys on our mailing list, and so from time to time you're going to see emails from me, maybe a few of them a week, right? And at any time, if you want to to come off the list, you can just click the unsubscribe button and take yourself off of the list, right? Or if that's not you, if you're not going to disregard what I just shared with you, right, because it doesn't apply to you, you can do this. You know that what I'm saying makes sense. And I wholeheartedly believe that it makes sense. I think that if you're in business right now, and if you're a sales and marketing professional and you're trying to grow your business, and if you don't have a strategy in place, if you don't have a team in place, if you don't have an automation process in place, then, going forward, it's just going to be really, really challenging. And especially if you're in certain sectors, right? So this isn't true across the board, but it's true for a lot of, what's in the marketplace right now, right? So you could know that this makes sense, and you're just ready to sign up and take the next step. So for those of you guys who are there, I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and schedule a strategy call with me, and click the button below, and you can go ahead and sign up, right? And schedule a strategy call with me so that we can really sit down and talk about how to create your campaign. Either myself or one of my teammates will do that, right? So if that's where you guys find yourself, right? Then there are you guys. There's a third group, right? You guys are apprehensive. You're not sure if this is going to work for you. You've tried a few things. You've had some bad results. You've heard a bunch of people say a lot of things and it just didn't work out for you, right? This makes sense. And you want to take the next step, but you have some considerations and you have some concerns, right? So for those of you guys, if you find yourself there, I'm going to ask you guys to do exactly what the second group did. Go ahead, click that button right below, this one right here, and go ahead and schedule a strategy call with me, right? Schedule a strategy call with me where we can work out some of these challenges that you guys are having so that we can get you guys signed up and get you generating more leads, scheduling more appointments, and closing more deals faster with our on-demand virtual social selling and marketing real estate assistant as a service, or our telecommunications assistance as a service, or with our energy social selling and marketing assistance as a service, right? So we've channelized our process. So it doesn't matter what sector you're in, we have trained social selling and marketing assistants that can help you do the work. Click the link and schedule a call with me. I think that's it, guys. I just want to say thank you guys so very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join me in this masterclass. And I will be sending out an email just to follow up. And again, really appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye. Oh yeah.